First thing I want to know is what do you guys want to get out of today? What are you hoping to learn and get out of the hour and a half that we have today?
I'd like to learn a little bit of the strategy. We were just kind of discussing the escalation clauses and just putting your best out there.
Okay.
And what is our, I just said, best strategy to try to preempt some of these other offers.
Sure. Anybody else? Goals?
So you know some of the rules, but like the reality of it happening, like what do you actually do?
Good. Okay.
Not just read what to do out of it.
Sure. That's what we're going to do. Anybody else? All right, well, let's get started. So my goals today is one, kind of what you both hit on it very well. We're going to talk about forms, the actual, not legality, but what you need to know, what makes you look like the educated realtor to your clients, whether buyers or sellers. We are going to talk a lot about buying and selling. So this isn't going to be geared just towards the buying strategy of getting your buyer the house. It's also going to be geared towards the sellers and getting them what they want, which we'll talk about what they want. And how to win, kind of what you hit on, is how to get the buyer the house, which is very hard. How many people find that this class is originally geared towards newer agents? So if you've been in the business for a while, you still take a lot away from it, but some of it might seem basic, but you'll still learn some things. How many people have had a multiple offer more than 3 on a property? 4? 5? 6? 7? 8? Over 10? Over 15? I had one 2 years ago with 28 offers on it in the first 48 hours. It was a very kind of unique situation. It's perfect timing. It was bid day for all the doctors. It was listed at 190 downtown. Obviously, now it's worth more than that. And it was quite an experience to sit down at someone's dinner table, say, all right, we got 28 offers. Let's go through it. And we're going to talk a little bit about how you go through that, because not only is that very overwhelming for the seller, but it can be very overwhelming for us. So I'm also hopefully going to give you some tips to save time for you guys, because that's in this business, it's that phone rings, and unfortunately, out the door we run. All right, so first is, when should you bring up multiple offers procedure to your clients? So the answer to that is multiple times. So with sellers, the very first time is probably when you're going through a listing contract, or when you're sitting down there with them and talking about even going on the market. Last night I did a listing appointment on something that's going to be about 190 in North Lawrence Township. I probably said the word multiple offer at least over 30 times to them. And they said, you keep saying this, you keep saying this. And I'm like, well, I want you to be prepared for it. Now, at the same time, you cannot prepare your clients enough. You can't prepare, especially first-time buyers, enough to know what they're getting into. And you can't prepare the sellers enough of what they're going to be getting thrown at them, because they're going to get a lot of information. And that's our job, is to take all this information and funnel it to them so they know what they're getting into. So in the listing contract, this is on page 6 or 7. I know they've added a couple pages. The first one you have is it does and does not to disclose the existence of multiple offers. The second discloses the terms of the multiple offers. We on our team, we're the lineman team, we always choose does and does. And the lingo I use with my clients is, this allows me to do my job to get you the most money or get you what you want. At the same time, I tell them this is an effort that we all do together. I'm not going to do anything without your knowledge. It is ultimately your house, it's your money, it's your property. You're going to tell me what to do based off of my guidance to you. I'm going to guide you in the best way to succeed in selling your house for the most money. I've been doing it about 13 years. I've never had a client say, I don't want to mark does and does. They always mark it. At the same time, Tepper Corporate is going to tell you, and my lawyer is going to tell you, you do not mark these. They mark these. Now, technically, you can probably mark them for them, but they have to tell you to mark them. there's legality there that I'm not a lawyer, I'm not gonna get behind,
How
but
about even better, have them initial it,
could do that
then
too.
you know who checkmarked it.
Yeah. I mean, it's right above the signature page, so hopefully they do that, because we also have an initial every, kind of on that topic. We have an initial every page, purchase agreement for buyers and listing contract for sellers, so. Also, I want this class to be interactive, so if you've got questions or, feel free to raise your hand and chime in. I don't want to get too far down the rabbit hole on stories, because we've all got plenty of stories of horror and wonderful stories, but
So I'll ask you real quick, then,
Sure.
what it does on revealing what offers are, do you actually reveal what's on the offer?
I've never done that either.
Okay.
Yeah. So just because I have the right and the ability to disclose what the offers are, I don't ever do it because it hardly never benefits your seller to tell somebody else, hey, this is what we got. Now, yeah, and with that said,
It's the second one. I'm sorry, the second one, I'm maybe missing something, but I used to do does and then does not. The second one, is it saying, I can't see it.
Sure.
But is it, or it used to say, or my interpretation was that, I'm not telling the other agents the terms of the deal.
it does authorize and disclose the terms of each offer.
But we
To the buy, to the seller, or to,
seller.
who's that to?
To the other agent, to the buyer's agent.
So I still would move does not, because,
No, you do does. Doesn't mean you're going to. But in case there's a rare scenario where you want to disclose a term to another agent, then that gives you the right to do it.
okay,
Like I said, I don't think I've ever disclosed terms to another agent.
okay.
And the reason is, anything you do to one party, one agent, you got 3 agents who submit offers, you have to be fair to all of them. So you can't tell agent A, hey, agent B and C's offers this, I want to work with you, so you gotta do this, and not tell B and C what agent A is. You have to be 100% fair to all parties involved, which is why you really never do this.
So, well, why check it? Why don't you just keep it does not? I don't know.
So you have that right. Because
But I mean, it would be so crazy rare that you would, I mean, like, what would be a for instance on that? I can't even think about.
because nobody knows this
Well,
except for
because
you and
the
the
seller
seller.
may say, I won't take any FHA offers after all, because I don't wanna pay closing costs, or some weird thing like that.
But then you'd revise your, PLC.
Right, but if they won't tell you, they may not tell you until,
Oh, until it happens
You
or
get it.
something.
and
Yeah,
this is in the listing contract,
yeah.
so.
That would be.
Yeah,
that would be
Exactly,
good.
to cover your butt, so you have that right if you want to. And no, like I said, nobody knows this except for you and the sellers. So by marking does, and they're not gonna come back and say, well, the listing contract said that you have to disclose it. No, it doesn't say I have to, it says we can. And then you were having that conversation, like, do you want me to tell the other people what they want? And they're like, no, why would you do that? I'm like, you're right, I wouldn't. But it's their choice. Now, the first one, expose the existence, that you are always gonna, I wouldn't see a reason not to mark that one, because you want everybody to know, hey, we've got multiple offers.
Can you cover that in the agent to agent in this market? I've seen that a lot.
We're gonna hit that, yeah,
All right.
yeah, we're gonna talk about disclosing of multiple offers, because that's, right now, it's all over the place. And we have the form that we're gonna end on, but yeah, we're gonna talk about that a little bit. With buyers, you are essentially, you should talk to them, especially first-time buyers who have never bought, the young buyers, bring it up the very first time you sit down and meet with them. Let them know what this market is like. Let them know that, I tell everybody, be prepared to write 3 offers. You're gonna miss out on the first one, you're gonna miss out on the second one, you're finally gonna listen to me and learn, and probably get the third one. You might, in today's market, you might be even more. We are about, I think, 22 to 25% lower inventory in 2018 at this time than we were last year. This market is intense, especially under 300,000. You're a little bit above 300,000, it's not as multiple offer driven, but they're still happening. So you need to prepare your buyers from the get-go. One thing a lot of people want to do, and we can't anymore, is second showing. They want to go see it, they want to bring their dad or mom back, they want to do something, they want to sleep on. That's not going to happen. So, trick that I do, this is how I do a second showing. Go and look at it. They love it, they like it, they're thinking about it. Okay, talk about it. Go to the sidewalk, talk a little bit more. Say, all right, we're going right back in. That is your second showing. If you wait another day or you wait till the weekend to get grandma and grandpa in, gonna be gone. It's gonna be gone. Because houses, I would say, I'm showing houses, my bread and butter is about 150 to 250. That's my main kind of, my buyers, which is really fun right now. It might be. And what I'm noticing is houses, even a couple years ago, I'm like, all right, it's an okay house, it's got some issues here, the location's all right. I get an email the next morning, we've got multiple offers. I'm thinking, I've got multiple offers? So even houses that, 4 or 5 years ago, you thought, oh, we can think about it, gone. Yeah, they're gone, because buyers are desperate. There is no inventory. And I don't care if you're looking on the south side, the north side, Amon out on the far west, or out in Greenfield. If it's priced well, and by well, I mean decent.
If it has a roof.
If it has a roof and maybe has a furnace, it's probably gonna
That
go.
carpet.
And then you're gonna educate both your buyers and sellers multiple times on the protocol and how, essentially, what a seller can do. So,
Can I ask a question?
absolutely.
I've had a buyer that, they're a young couple, first-time home buyers, they work opposite shifts. And so it's been all we could do to even get in for a showing for both before something was sold. He's taken time off his part-time job so that we can get some in, and we did write an offer last night. But someone had suggested to me that I could consider writing into it, like making an offer with her.
Mhm.
We've done FaceTime, we've done all that stuff.
Sure.
Contingent upon him coming in to see the property within 24 hours.
You can do that, and we're gonna hit on,
Contingent.
you could do
Maybe
that.
Not contingent, but based on him coming to see
It's still contingency
it.
though.
Contingency, okay,
So you can do that, but we're gonna talk a little bit about why you probably aren't gonna get it,
okay.
because
As a
that is,
seller, taking them to move on.
yeah, if I've got, because I don't want anything that's gonna drag it
I
out.
see that, yeah.
I have a couple where he is a firefighter, so when he works, he can't leave.
Well, that's
And
it.
she has a more flexible job, and we had to sit down heart to heart, and he said, you love it, go, write an offer. And fortunately, it was Sunday morning, and they were both able to go together, but they knew what they wanted, they've seen enough houses together, they knew what they liked, so that might be a strategy. Not, in 2015, I had about 7 deals, sight unseen or via FaceTime. We're all grown-ups here, scared the shit out of me, but that's what they have to do. They're normally out of town or they come right on the market, but FaceTime it and then they come back and see it the next day or when they can. So, but it's a contingency I would put in because,
And I haven't yet, but we're,
and it's tricky. And so one thing we're also seeing, which I think is kind of getting off topic a little bit, but I think this market is detrimental to the fact that buyers are going to start walking away from it. The buyer I was just talking about, luckily they found something. She was saying, you know what, we already have a house, we don't need to buy right now, let's wait till the fall, and that's something that us as an industry is going to have to figure out how to correct.
Or they renew their lease. I mean, I've had like 10 buyers renew their lease.
Because they have to.
Tired of it.
Yeah. I had one who they thought they were going to get rid of their lease, and luckily they did because they would have been homeless. Okay, so the 4 options, and this is going to be pretty self-explanatory for most agents, but you can always use a refresher. So when a seller gets multiple offers, or when a buyer writes multiple offers, there are 4 things that seller can do. And all we can do is guide our sellers, and all we can do is guide our buyers. A seller is going to be afraid of one thing, well, multiple things, but they're going to be afraid that they're leaving money on the table. And a buyer is going to be afraid that they're paying too much, or that they could have got the house cheaper. Trick, they'll never know. They will never know if they could have got the house for $5,000 cheaper, and they'll never know if they could have sold the house for $5,000 more. Unless some weird coincidence happens that the buyers and sellers hang out 4 years down the road. At that point, it doesn't matter. So the 4 options are: a seller can reject an offer. So flat out rejection, you didn't get it, you lost out. It is okay. I always ask, why didn't we get it? You can ask the other agent, what made the other one better? And they'll tell you or not, that's up to them. The next one I'm finding more and more common is just a flat out acceptance. The reason is that and we'll get to this, I send my best foot forward at the beginning. We're getting such good offers, either your buyers are writing such good offers, or you're getting such good offers on your listing, that the seller is just like, let's go with that one. That one gives me all I need. And as a buyer's agent, I'm gonna tell you how to make this happen in a little bit. Counter. A counter to me is just as good as an acceptance. And the reason is they're only countering your offer. Normally, we'll talk about that in a minute too. If I get a counter, then I'm telling my buyer, unless it's something extremely crazy, you're signing that counter right now. There's nothing on there that would make me not want to have you sign it, except, again, a very weird situation, the buyer or the seller has put something on there. The reason I consider this just as good as an acceptance is that a buyer or a seller can only counter one offer. So it's not like they're sending it out to multiple agents saying, all right, this is what we want. And then obviously the last would be highest and best, which we're seeing obviously quite a bit now. And how we're seeing these notifications kind of hitting what you are. We want the company in agent-to-agent remarks, we've got multiple offers, send us your highest and best by noon on Friday. I'm seeing a mass email via CSS that says we received multiple offers, send us your highest and best by this point. The seller will be reviewing all offers after 4 p.m. on Tuesday. And then there's a form at the very end that I'll show you. There is a multiple offer notification form. That is what this form is. Like I said at the very end, I've got it up on the screen. This I'm not seeing as much get sent across because it's time consuming. A couple tricks you can do to make this not so time consuming if you are a stickler to paperwork and you want to do it exactly how my board tells you to do it, which is to send this form to everybody to notify them of multiple offers, is fill it out and leave the blanks that you can and attach it to the BLC sheet. And say, the multiple offer form on the BLC sheet, you fill it out to the buyer's agent and you send it back. I personally like the CSS method. I don't like putting it in the BLC method because not everybody's looking at the BLC. I had a listing we sold, it just closed this week actually, but it got an offer about a month ago. 8 offers, put on the market Friday, 4 o'clock, 8 offers by 4 o'clock Saturday. I get a call Sunday at noon from a buyer's agent. And it's like, I'm gonna show your property tomorrow. I just wanted to see if you had anything going on it. You obviously didn't check the BLC because while I say I don't like the BLC notifications, it's for that reason, because agents don't check it. They just go. So there I am. I'm done working on a Sunday, which is rare, but I'm done working and I have to answer this call from an agent who just didn't do his job. So you can put a notification of highest and best in the BLC. I really like the CSS notification. Also, I always email too. So I do the out of CSS, but I physically either email, call, or text each agent who has sent a minute offer. Any questions on highest and best
Can we see that,
notification?
can we see that and just pass it around?
Sure.
This sounds so silly, but you go into CSS and you do the blowout of, hey, we have,
Yep.
you personally log in and then just hit.
Yeah, so this, whether it's CSS, you have the option, you can email every agent who's shown the property. And in there, you can write exactly what you want. And that's where I put in the details. Now, one thing that buyers, agents get frustrated with is with the multiple offer notification or form, there's no deadline. So the sellers really have as long as they want. So for instance, if you send me an offer and say, well, we want to hear back by noon on Friday, yeah, I'm in the driver's seat. You might hear back noon on Saturday because I'm meeting with the sellers noon Saturday morning. Common courtesy is, because we are all in this together, is tell the other people when you're probably going to hear back from. Because it doesn't really matter what they put on the first agreement. It's like by noon Saturday. Technically, it's be null and void, but we'll offer it.
Should they get back in contract or not? I mean, should they get back in contract to have a chance to win now?
I'm not following the question.
So if I have a buyer and it's asking for a response by 5 o'clock today, and you phone me and say we're gonna meet with them Friday at noon, should I do something to get back in contract to protect my buyer?
You can, so, one thing I say about this business is that we live in the state of Indiana and we're very loose and trustworthy people. So that can bite you in the butt. But yeah, you could do an amendment. There's a lot of times that's what we'll do, is it's definitely it's drawn out. They signed the acceptance, so normally that's, your buyer is excited about that. If it's, obviously if you didn't get it, it doesn't matter. But what I would do in that is, if you don't want to do a counter offer, because that leaves it open, is I would put an amendment. If you've got the,
I could just see some agent coming back at me, yeah, but you were out of contract, so it was this, I just see it.
well, you're waiting for them to sign it.
Right.
You're waiting for the seller to sign it.
Correct.
So,
But it's, if that agent, who's the listing agent, happens to have that buyer, what an easy way, I mean, it happens,
it does, because,
and I hate it. But, and then she can throw it in my face when you were in contract.
yeah.
I'm not trying to make.
No, I know exactly what you're talking about. No, yeah, and that's where an
I've been
amendment
doing
would
this
come in.
25 years and I've been getting.
Yeah, and there's times where you're gonna get bit. I would do an amendment, and say, all right, time to explain, or time to respond,
Just to be safe.
just to be safe. And you might have to put that on the other agent, like, all right, when you send over the acceptance, because my offer expired at noon, can you just put in an amendment that says time to respond at noon on Saturday as opposed to Friday? That's,
Ask her to act that specific.
I mean, she's having her people, because you want those sellers to sign, because it's not valid if her sellers haven't signed it, the amendment.
Okay.
I mean, if she really wants to, and honestly, if she really wants to screw you over, or he, she's gonna do it. They're
Might as
gonna,
well learn before you, and then you.
they're gonna do it. I mean, if you're waiting for an amendment and she's got another buyer to sweep in, it's gonna happen. Yep.
Is there any, legal exposure by not doing this?
That would be a question for, a lawyer.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
I would ask Tucker. I don't think so. But I wouldn't see what exposure there would be. I mean, I'm sure a lawyer could sue you and fight it, but
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
because I don't see those all the time either.
I hardly ever
Like
see those now.
twice and-
yeah. And this, I mean, every offer I write, got multiple offers on it, so, but I hardly ever see those.
Okay. Okay, so you're representing the seller.
Okay.
And you say you put it on, and you received multiple offers and you're gonna give them a deadline of Monday. So, and you posted on CSS, everybody who was shown.
Mhm.
But somebody is looking at the house for the first time on Sunday. How, if you don't put it in the DLC, how are they gonna be aware of this?
So I do put in the DLC. I do both.
You do both.
And
Okay.
I also if depending on when it is, I will also email, if I've got offers and I know that you're showing it after my deadline, I'm gonna email that agent and say, hey, we're responding to offers by this time,
Okay.
you gotta move your showing up.
Okay.
And I've got plenty of, we're not the bad guys here, but I've got plenty of agents who hate me certain times because I'm like, well, you can't get in, sorry. You move it up. That's your fault, being, no offense, well, we're all Tucker agents, so we're not part-time, but part-time agents, sorry.
I just recently seen also in the VLC where they've written, seller will be collecting offers and reviewing all at noon on Sunday. And it's like 4 days away.
So there is,
And is that the same thing where I need to notify everybody that comes in? I don't do it, but
sure,
as if I was the list agent, that I need to notify everybody that sets a showing, Sunday at 9, that we're reviewing all by.
Hopefully you put it in CSS and
Yeah.
just the instructions right
Yeah.
there for it already.
so there's an agent who is on his own,
That's a good point.
who does that, that's a very good point, who, he essentially will not accept any offers the first week it's on the market. And I talked to him about it, and I understand his theory about it. I personally don't like him, so I don't like his theory, but. Joking. But he, it makes sense. He's like, somebody could be out of town. I'm giving everybody a fair shot, a week to see it, so boom. And then I know that on Saturday at noon, that's been on the market a week, I'm gonna sit down with my seller and go over all the offers. Two things I don't like about that is, one is that buyer who sent you that best offer, something else might have came on the market and they withdrew their offer. Your best offer might have just gotten taken off because another listing came on the market. Because buyers will not wait. And we'll talk about backups actually on this page too, about backup offers. A buyer will not wait and say, all right, well, I'll wait till Saturday. And then I forget the second reason I don't like that. Oh,
Just
that's-
feel like that.
Oh, I know what it is. I'm superstitious, and so I won't ever put this won't last or come quick,
Oh, yeah.
anything like that, because I get a chuckle when you see an agent or a BLC that's been on the market for 6 months.
Yeah.
Hurry, it won't last. So, like, I literally, I put an email into yesterday, I'm like, I keep saying to a seller who's about to list, I'm like, you should get multiple offers. And I literally put in parentheses, I don't say would because I don't want to jinx it.
Right.
So, that's the second reason I don't like to do it, is if you just advertise, oh, this is gonna fly off the shelf. And it's there 6 months later, and, you know, the agent is smart enough to go into the VLC and remove that. from it.
I love that.
Yeah. All right, so we're gonna talk now a little bit about buyers and when they're ready to write. So, this is gonna be the most important thing you learn today is this next bullet point, and we're gonna hit hard very, very much. Pick up the phone. When you have a buyer who's getting ready to write an offer, call that listing agent. Don't text them, don't email them, call them. Find out what that seller wants. It's not always price. It's not always possession. You never know what that seller wants. I do this, every time I do this, the listing agent is almost shocked that I call. She's like, oh, well, this is what they really, really want. For instance, our one of our closings from this week, what was very important to them was they were building. They had 8 offers. We closed on March 20th. They're not moving out till July 1st. They sold it for $10,000 less than the next offer because they got to rent the house back at a pretty good price until July 1st when their new house is built. That was worth more than money to them. They didn't have to move twice. They didn't have to figure out where they're going. That was important. And that person got it. It was solely because of that. It was cash. That obviously helped, but that was golden to them. My listing that I'm going to be listing in about 2 weeks, he's moved out. They've already bought another house, and he says, I just want it sold. I want it closed yesterday. So obviously that's the opposite. That's what's going to be most important. to him.
What's the address?
I'll tell you in a minute. We'll talk afterwards. So it's different for everybody. So pick up the phone and find out. We love to text, we love to email, but we are our own worst enemies verbally when we negotiate. We slip, we let things out. So use that for your advantage, because on that one property I keep talking about, I had one agent who called me afterwards, and well, why didn't we get it? And I kind of told him a little bit. They're like, well, anybody would have let him do that. I'm like, well, you never called before to find that out. You didn't find that out for your client until after we were already under contract. So pick up the phone and call that buyer or that listings and find out what they want. All right. Second important thing is go bold from the beginning. Don't say, well, we can see if they send us the highest and best, because as we showed on the last slide, the seller does not have to do a highest and best. They do not have to say, we want your highest and best. And the buyer will say, well, we'll just wait for that. All right, well, what if you don't get it? What if you miss out? You can send an exclusion clause sheet, and we'll talk about that at the end as well, but that might not get you where you want it. That's what did I say? Oh, thank you. That might not get it done either. I had a client who was $350,000 or $60,000, and they wanted to go 10,000 below. It just came on the market, it's about two weeks on the market. This is about a year and a half ago, so it wasn't as hot. And I just looked at him and said, are you willing to lose this house for $10,000 on a 15-year mortgage? No. Then go full price. You want this house, you've been looking for a year and a half. Good. And they did, and they got it. Now, they like to bargain, they like to negotiate. Everybody feels that real estate is a negotiating game. Well, not anymore. Yeah. There's no negotiating in real estate.
Can we go back to the first one?
Sure.
So when you call the other listing agent, besides the closing, what else are you, of course, they want list price.
Sure.
But what else are you as a buyer agent looking?
So how I word that call is I call them and say, this is Will Lonman with the Infrastructure Company. I'm getting ready to write an offer with my client. We just showed the property. What does your seller want? What's most important to your seller?
Just come straight out and
Yeah.
ask.
And they'll
Say
say, I got
price, what do they need?
right. It's the price they want. They want the highest price possible. What's most important to them? I just got that house I was telling you about that I was surprised it had multiple offers. They did a CSS blast where they said seller wants 14 days post-closing possession. They just put that out there to everybody. I thought it was kind of bold, like, oh, that works. So that's exactly how I say it is, what does your seller want? And then they'll tell me, you know, it's like, well, they want this, they want that, they want to keep chandelier in the kitchen, yada, yada, yada. I'm like, okay, they want to leave it furnished. Now, I don't support this, but something that's very common, and I had somebody in my last class do it all the time. She buys them as is. She tells the buyer to buy it as is. I deal with also a lot of old houses. I do a lot downtown. I'm not buying a downtown
Another
house.
state, it's done that way in Florida, and license,
Yeah,
and
Cal-
as is with right to inspect, and nobody's paranoid of it because it's commonplace. I think it'd be lovely, wonderful, we could be settling it up instead of closing.
Yeah.
And that's not totally true, because my brother's down there, and I asked him that all the time, he finally explained it to me. They can negotiate inspection, but they don't do repairs.
Right,
So they'll give them money for it anymore. So if you're not
okay.
calling around contractors, it's up to the buyer to fix the house, but they may get some money for it. But they're not running around like we do, get roofers, plumbers, electricians, and all that other crap out there.
well, my experience, it was in condos and, you know,
Yeah, well, they probably do that a lot, you know, well, my brother says, hell, I just said, we're not doing it. You want the house or not?
It's scary if that becomes a negotiating tool
The
of
inspection,
waiving an inspection that you lost out because somebody did that. 'Cause, I mean,
I don't even bring it up to my people.
I wouldn't tell someone to do it. If they select it, then I'm gonna make sure I'm covered that they selected it. But back to her point, like as a seller, just a clean offer.
Yeah.
I mean, literally in the middle of multiple right now, 6 just listed, 185 in Fishers, 6 offers and. You can be the 7th. But as soon as
I'll
I
probably
leave
be
here,
there in
you
a little
know,
bit, so don't worry about it.
she's picking one, but, I mean, the thing, and so this last agent said, you know, back to your original point of you disclose, I mean, never disclose what's on it, but she's like, are they, you know, pretty good above? And just make it clean, like no closing costs, no warranty, you know, the more down, obviously, if they can, the better, but I had one that asked for, closing costs. And, you know, obviously that affects the price, so it's just clean, like, don't even throw in a warranty because $500 to the seller and the buyer kind of expects it, and, but to your point, when do they want to move? If it's vacant, kind of solid answer that they want it soon, but anyways, yeah, just having that dialogue and just keep it clean, keep it simple and make it easy, and have the pre-approval letter on there. Of the 6 offers, only 2 had it. Like, so I need to hunt that down, you know?
So we're gonna talk a little bit about what's a good offer for a buyer, and what's a bad offer for a buyer, and then obviously we're gonna talk about that with seller. They're opposite, but you're exactly right. I mean, pre-approval letter, no contingencies, you know, closing costs, I'm not too concerned about as long as the price is there, but then you might have appraisal issues. So go bold from the beginning. So some things to think about. High earnest money, could matter. More so if it's a cash offer. I don't work with cash buyers yet. I work with a lot of cash buying my listings, oddly enough. But if it's a cash buyer, I would want a higher earnest money. It's just been kind of a thing that cash buyers are more willing to walk away for whatever reason, probably because they got $200,000 to buy a second property cash. You know, they're just gonna walk away. Removal of any contingency. I think I'm dealing more with people who are like, you know what, and I don't know, they've got the money to do it. They're like, we're gonna buy first and then sell, which is the one in Lawrence that I'm getting ready to list. He bought first. If you have any contingency, which you were talking about, the contingency of getting that person, let's get the husband in by this afternoon. I'm gonna balk at that. I'm gonna balk at any contingency possible. Now, the contingency, if we have to sell our house, it's under contract before we can buy that house. In this market, I'm not as concerned with that as I used to be. And the reason is I'm gonna find out where if that's the best offer besides that one little contingency. I'm gonna research that property, I'm gonna see where they're at, and I might be like, all right, let's have them sell. So, quick story, we had a closing that was, Kaylee's on my team here. When was Bonneville supposed to close? Last Tuesday. A week before closing. Sorry, follow me here. We have a listing. They're buying a house, which is not contingent on my client selling their house. So they're buying whatever. Someone's buying their house. Buyer of this house, their son passing away. So sad story. They're not buying the house. So now this contingency's gone. And my people are like, but it's contingent on them buying that house or selling their house. They can't buy this house. my clients are freaking out. We gotta put it back on the market. We gotta put it back on the market. I'm like, hold on. Within 12 hours, this house is under contract again. The cash buyer closing. So these houses are gonna sell. Now, it's delayed. These people are a little upset because they were supposed to close on like the 12th or the 13th. We're now closing on the 30th. But if the house is a good house in a good price range, I'm not gonna be too upset if the best offer that we should be going with has a contingency of the house itself. Now, with that said, if there's an offer that is exactly the same and does have no contingency, I'm gonna go with no contingency all day long. Because of those scenarios, things happen. We had a buyer, not my buyer, had a listing, buyer got terminal cancer 2 weeks before closing, was like, I don't wanna buy it. My clients were doctors, so they're like, we understand, go. But things happen. Real estate is life. Shouldn't be your life, but it is life. A living, breathing industry. We deal with people, we deal with their emotions, and people, things happen. So, you know.
But the point is, you did your due diligence, that it was past appraisal, it was past inspection, it's not just pending.
Right.
You take those extra steps.
Exactly. So picking up the phone and finding out where are they at? Who is, I know who your buyer is using for a lender. Who is that buyer's buyer
Domino,
using
check
for a
all
lender?
dominoes.
Because that's one thing about going bold from the beginning also. So removal of closing date and possession. Obviously, we talked a little bit about that. You're going to know before you write that offer what that seller wants. Do they want possession at closing? Are they fine with that? Are they elderly and they really want 3 to 4 days after closing possession? I think we're seeing more and more of that, especially if they have, their clients have a place to live. There's some risk obviously involved. Again, I go back to we live in Indiana, we trust each other. I won't share the horror story I had to deal with last week about post-possession closing, but almost got lawyers involved. So there are risks in post-possession closing. Document everything. Essentially, this is over an eagle in the woods that was carved that nobody knew about. Seller wanted to take it, and buyer said it's saved. It was fun. That was my St. Patrick's Day weekend.
What happened?
They left it. I told them, I was like, you have to leave it. I was like, imagine it's a fruit tree. You can't just cut down the fruit tree. And he knew he messed up. He knew he should have disposed of it. I didn't even know the damn thing was there.
So an eagle, it was an eagle?
It was an eagle carved into a stump of a tree.
They wanted to take the stump?
Oh.
Wow.
They didn't. You don't even know about this.
I what did you do about this?
It was quite interesting.
Wow.
The document, if you're going to do a post possession, you need to make sure that everything is settled up.
You're gonna exclude something.
Yeah, especially if you're going to exclude something. And he knew at the end. I talked and he's like, I messed up. I should have told you. We should have excluded this thing. Yeah.
I'm so sorry, but they were going to cut the stump?
They're going to cut the stump and then
Oh.
stick the eagle.
Unbelievable, sorry, I had to know, I had to hear
The
whole
fish,
thing.
the fish they were going to leave. The fish that was carved into the tree, they were going to leave. But that's the eagle they wanted.
Oh, wow.
So buyer, so life isn't fair. All right, we are in this together. I am sick and tired of agents getting mad at me because I didn't accept your offer.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's not personal. It's not personal.
I wrote 6 offers.
It's, our goal is just to guide people. Buyers, it's their money. They're going to spend it the way they want. For sellers, it's going to be their money. It's their house. They're going to do what they want. We are just there to be the professional and to guide them with our knowledge. They pay us a lot of money, the sellers do, and this is why. They pay us to give them the best advice. They don't listen to you, that's on them. But we are there to give them the best advice with how they should handle the situation. Sellers don't get emotional. Buyers are going to be emotional. They're going to be upset they didn't get it. They're going to want to know what was the other offer. We're always asked, well, what's the other offer? What did they get it for? What's it pending for? We don't know until it closes. And we can tell them that 5 different times, and the 6th time they still don't get it. So, we are a record player at times. So life isn't fair. They're just gonna have to suck it up. They're gonna have to realize that until they put their best game forward, go bold from the beginning, they might not get it. like I said, again, the other agent isn't the enemy. We are all in this together, so play nicely. Okay, backup offers. Does anybody do backup offers with their buyers? Yeah, I don't. A couple reasons I don't. I think one is because I think they're gonna pay more for the house than they could. The house goes back on the market 3 months down the road because of inspections, or a month down the road for inspections, or whatever, then they probably didn't want it. I showed a house last night and the buyer's like, oh, it's back on the market. They didn't see it the first time because they're new buyers. I was like, oh, let's go look at it. We get in the basement. I'm like, oh, I see why this is back on the market. Your basement wall is doing this. Literally, it was a basketball. Again, it's a 140-year-old house downtown. But there's a reason that inspection didn't go through. So one is I don't want my people to wait around thinking they might get it, because they're gonna keep thinking about that house, thinking, oh, and they probably won't get it. I mean, I do think we're seeing, and anybody can disagree with me, but I think we're seeing more houses fall because of inspections. And I think the reason is the buyer is doing one thing. I paid you way over list price for this house. I want it to be perfect. Seller's thinking, I've got 7 other offers I can accept. I'm not doing crap. Inspections are very hard for us right now. And the gentleman mentioned about money. I think we're seeing more and more money being transferred, which with him, I agree. I like that. Then you just don't have to go with contractors there. So, and then if you do a backup offer, you want to put some sort of clause in there that gives you an immediate out. So say you're waiting around and another house comes up on the market that your buyer's like, we gotta go see this. This is the one. I know we're in a backup offer situation on this one, but, and then they love that one and they go after that one. You can't ride on that one until you're out of this one. So now you're dragging your feet, and what are you gonna do? You're gonna write an offer, put a contingent on removal of a backup offer?
And they get over it when they realize that that offer, they gotta hit the service one too.
Yeah.
And that's when they thought, oh, okay, well then.
So I don't necessarily like backup offers. I think we're gonna get, this is gonna be less and less common because we all are aware that Active B, Active C, Active I is finally going away. So that is very good news in my book, I think. Oh, no, right. So going bold from the beginning, hit back on that a little bit, is one thing that if there's a multiple offer situation, I prefer to know that there's another offer already. I hate being the first person writing an offer. I love to be able to go to my client and say, all right, they've got 2 offers. If we know it's multiple offers, put your best foot forward. Can you have that upper hand? That first person who wrote might not have gone above list price. It's a little different in this market because I showed a house over on off Alphaville, it's listed at 195. First day on the market, he's like, well, if I wrote what I have to do it at 210. Like, it just came on the market. I'm like, do you want it? Like, this house is great. It's a good, solid house, updated. It's going to sell for 210.
So Will, I have a question for you.
Sure.
So you just said you're listed a house for 195. That's your guess what it's going to be worth. So I'm assuming you're going to come down to this eventually. It's about appraisals. That's part of your cover that kind of thing.
I am.
Okay.
This is the seller part. But he brings up a good point. What's your name?
Tim, White.
Tim. Is appraisals is, as a buyer's agent, I get it all the time, like, oh, we can write it's listed at 100, hell, write 150, it's not gonna appraise.
Right.
What if it does? But, I think it's a poor sign of the listing agent if that goes through. So what that means, that listing agent has informed their client that it might sell for 150. It's not gonna appraise for 150. But you've now let your seller think that they're gonna get 150 when it's really worth 100. Where they should have taken that 120 cash offer. Because, but we do
Yeah,
it.
but right now it's nuts. And I
It's
have
going up.
They're just writing them up, no matter what the hell the price is, and said, and I told my clients, I said, we're gonna sell this out 3 times. We're gonna sell it, the first time inspections, then the price, we're just gonna have to deal with it. Either negotiate price, come back down again, the appraisal price, come back, take them off more cash or something like that. So if I'm buying to buy a house and I'm getting 5 guys, here's what the price is.
Yep.
Really?
That's what we're saying. So, and then a time, and I don't have a hash for this, but times to never write an offer. If you're writing a first right and it's multiple offers, don't do it. Don't waste my time with the first right offer. I'm not even gonna, I mean, I legally will present it to sellers if I have to, but it's going in the bin right away. If your buyer is not pre-approved, you don't have a and I don't care who the pre-approval letter is from. I mean, I do, and I'll talk about that. But I want them to know they're pre-approved. Because if you send me a pre-approval letter for Chase and I really like your offer, I'm like, okay, are they really using Chase? Because I've done it. I've had buyers who I've said, all right, they walked in Chase, we met, all right, and I hit it over the head, don't use Chase, don't use Chase, don't use Chase. And they don't use Chase, but that's the pre-approval letter I have. If that's your scenario with that buyer, you let that seller's agent know. You let that listing agent know, say, hey, I know they're pre-approved Chase, but they're not using them. They're going to use Tucker Mortgage, or they're going to use Caliber, which is who we really like. But if you're like, oh, they're meeting with the lender tomorrow, well, going in the bin again, because we don't know if you can even get it because you're not pre-approved. And then kind of what you hit on is the comps. If a house is listed really high, and we're seeing that more. You know, walk in and sellers are like, I don't have to sell. I'm gonna trip sell myself. But there we go. Okay. Where was I? Price. We're seeing sellers list their house for way more than it's worth. Off of our professional opinion. Are you going to allow, and some buyers will, they're like, yeah, let's do it. Go down through an inspection and go down through all the road of the rigor-rammer, knowing that it's not going to appraise and knowing that that seller might not even, it's not even going to come down. So that's where you have to have a conversation again by picking up the phone and say, hey, you know, I ran the comps. This house is $75,000 higher than the most recent comp. What's your seller thinking? Like, honestly, the agents can be honest, talking to each other. We will inform you, like, that's what they wanted to list it for. I know it's overpriced. Do what you can. They're hoping for a cash buyer. They're hoping for somebody who's coming in from California who says, I want that house, boom, here's cash. They're not hoping for an FHA buyer who's going to have to scrape the back barn and put in, you know, a new stove or whatnot. So you have to have that conversation too with your buyers as far as, is it worth spending the money on an inspection, probably on a credit report or appraisal, knowing that this house, for our job, is way overpriced. Now, I would say that this year, the appraisals have been a lot better. I'm not even going to say what I'm thinking, but I feel like appraisals, how many people have had low appraisals this year?
But 2 in the last month.
Oh.
I went to an appraisal class yesterday.
Were they far off or just?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And ridiculous.
Yeah. This year, knock on wood, has been better for us, but still early in the year. So those would be the times that I wouldn't write if I know the house is just way, if I think the house is 5,000 to 10,000 overpriced, I'll probably let them write. But if it's, you know, 15, 20% over what the comps are telling me, the seller is fishing for a good offer. We're going to move on to sellers next. Any questions on buyers and their procedure?
Go back to what you said
Sure.
about lenders a minute ago.
Okay.
You said Chase.
I don't want my buyers to use Chase, and I don't want my buyers of my listings to use Chase.
Okay, well, I know, that is an issue, but
I don't think that's fair though. You can't,
well, prove me wrong. They have.
What's not fair?
I know Chase has got a bad name, but I just did a loan personally with Chase and it was a better rate and it closed sooner than I wanted to and it was smooth as could be.
That's the
On a
first time
property?
I've heard of that.
Yeah.
But you don't suggest.
You
certain
saw
lenders
lenders.
that
I
they
just
use, right?
referred,
What?
But you don't suggest certain lenders if.
You can.
Give them a
Not
choice.
No,
scary.
you can,
I
I'm
don't.
just saying,
No,
if you
because
get,
I mean,
you get an
so we
offer
use
and the
Tucker
buyer's
Mortgage.
with Chase,
Right.
on one of your listings, you can't say, we don't use Chase.
Right. No, I can't.
Okay, I just
But I
wasn't
can-
clear about that way. Okay.
And, you know, but I can inform my sellers. We are the knowledge that we pass on. So I'm gonna tell my
Give them a
seller,
choice.
hey, this is why I don't want them. This is why I don't like Chase. They'll get it done. I know they're gonna get it done, but it's gonna be normally,
Wait,
but
you
it's gonna
said that?
be a headache.
If you said that to the seller, I mean, isn't that gonna make them get a little worried? I mean,
And that's my job, not to make them worried, but to educate them and let them know that my history of dealing with Chase as a lender, dealing with PNC as a lender, dealing with big banks is not great. My Bailey and Woods, Caliber, Stonegate, Tucker Mortgage, bring it all day. You know, somebody who, this is how I explain it to my buyers too when I sit down with them. is that the names I just meant, all they do are home loans. That's all they do. Chase, what is it, 1% of a multi-billion-dollar company? So, and sellers get it. I mean, it's not, I mean, I'm not, you know, it's not a big secret that Chase and PNC and the big banks are bad at home loans. I didn't blow any minds with that, did I?
No.
You know, that's,
Too late.
I did lose a house because of who I used for a mortgage company, and it was not Rocket One, somebody like that. And I hadn't had any problem. I did 2 or 3 of them before that. My clients picked them, not me. And the clients, well, I'm not familiar with, or the seller agent, so I'm not familiar with them, so we're rejecting their offer. I go, really? I go, and I was skeptical about these companies before that, but they soon right through it. They called me about every other day to tell me what's going on.
Was it Rocket? Was it
Somebody like that.
I'm like, online.
Lending Tree.
Quicken Loans.
Quicken?
Yeah.
It was Quicken Loans, who it was.
Quicken Loans, but they're very good.
I zipped right through it.
Mhm.
And they called me every Friday and told me what's going on.
Yes.
No, I'm not gonna say that if this offer, I mean, I'm not gonna not use this, go with this offer because they're doing Chase. That's not gonna be like, oh, they're using Chase. But if they're parallel, and I've got one that's using a local, you know, say Caliber, Tucker Mortgage, you know, I'm like, well, I know this lender. I know this lender can get things done. I know how they work. I know how Chase works. So, I mean, obviously, if the Chase offer is $10,000 more than anybody else, closing dates, everything we want, we're gonna go with them. What I've done though, is I've prepared my seller for the hiccups that are gonna come.
Okay.
And I had a buyer who used Chase, and they closed December, the last week of December, and they had to close kids exemptions, full story, using Chase. I told them from the get-go, don't use Chase, don't use Chase. Chase calls me and tells me everything's great. At the closing table, my buyer is like, I should have listened to you. I should have never have gone with Chase. Made me feel good, but, you know. But no, I'm not gonna not go with a client because they're using a phone lender. So this is what makes your, going back, this is what makes your offer seem stronger, is going with a local lender, talking to your buyers and saying, hey, these people are solid, your offer is gonna be much more solid, because the goal of this is to make your offer the best. So, all right, quickly on to sellers. All right, I don't know, okay. So, limited agency. This is, I don't think very common, so we're not gonna talk too much about it, but with limited agency and multiple offers, it can get very tricky. This is where agents are gonna hate you, when they find out that you have the buyer. Like I said, does not happen very often. It is not against the rules to lower your commission if you've got the buyer. You know, you've got to sleep at night. It's all about giving the buyer the house and the seller the most money. So you have to be very ethical. Disclose to the buyer, to the seller, to the lender that you've got to disclose. Cover your butt. Make sure that you are covered and that everybody knows. On the listing contract and the purchase agreement, it talks about limited agency. And there are boxes that you mark that say, this is a limited agency. For newer agents with Tucker, the only time it is a limited agency is when you personally are representing the buyer and the seller. There's been some confusions in years past, it's cleared up now, but a Tucker to Tucker transaction is not limited agency. Inter brokerage is not limited agency. It's literally, it's the same MIBOR numbers are on the top of the sheet. So just to clear that up. And then, like I said, the ethical issues, you're going to work harder to get done. I personally like limited agency. We do about 80 to 100 deals a year. We have maybe 4 a year. We're on a team, so normally, honestly, it's 2 separate people working with it, so a little bit easier. But just, if you're not an ethical person, you're going to have issues with limited agency. That's all I can say about that. Positive and negative offers. Okay, so this is going to be reverse of what we just talked about with the sellers. But what is a bad offer if you're a seller is going to be obviously the first right, the type of loan they're using. If it's a VA or FHA, those are still great loans, but if you've got somebody who's put 20% or 40% down, I might go with that. Obviously, if there's a house to be closed on, that contingency makes it positive or negative depending on where that's at, because as I mentioned earlier, there can be hiccups in any transaction. And then low earnest money, honestly, just find out why. I mean, you could have a weak agent on the other end, and the buyer's like, well, I don't wanna write a check for $500, or, depending on the price range. So find out why that earnest money is lower. You can't counter it. So what is the one thing you can't counter in a purchase agreement? One thing.
Title company.
Okay, there's two things. That's done all the time, but you're right, you can't legally do that. Two things, you're right. Type of loan they're getting. You can't say, I don't want you to get that. You can do it, but if you counter me and tell my buyer what type of loan to get, I'm gonna read you the riot act. Don't tell me you can't tell my buyer what type of loan to get.
But if you exclude VA or something, I mean, they're not a protected class, fortunately. But, you wouldn't have to take that offer.
If you excluded them, no, but you don't have to take any offer.
Right, but, I guess that's what you said, what type of loan?
Somebody putting 20% down or 30% down is gonna be a stronger offer to your seller
Oh, okay.
than an
I thought you
FHA.
were talking, okay.
Yeah, so I'm just comparing apples to apples.
Okay.
All right. So here's something, why do we love cash offers? No appraisal. However, this highlighted part of the first agreement, every offer is contingent on appraisal. A lot of people don't know that. So even if they don't have to have an appraisal, it is in the purchase agreement that it is contingent on an appraising for that price. So if the buyer pays for an appraisal, he gets one, and it doesn't appraise, and it's a cash buyer, it's just like if it's a loan and it appraises low. I've only had one cash buyer get an appraisal, so it's not very common. So it's kind of a gray area. Do you bring it up to the buyer's agent and say, are they gonna get an appraisal? Because now you're putting that seed in their mind. Or do you just hope that like 99% of buyers who do cash, they don't get an appraisal? Take up the phone. That's what I do. Are they gonna get an appraisal? No, they're not getting an appraisal. Most agents outside the FC Tech company don't even realize that a purchase agreement is contingent on an appraisal, even as a cash buyer. If they say, yeah, they're probably gonna get an appraisal, or, well, let me talk to them about it. Counter it and say two things. Buyer has to pay for the appraisal, and they have to do it and order it within 5 days, or however many days, but make that window short. So, other things that make an offer good are obviously the price, talk about strong earnest money, closing date and possession, so again, type of loan, and then cash is still king. Even though I just talked about the appraisal, most of them do it. Cash offers will always be the best offer you get. Those people are not gonna get appraisals normally. Just gonna buy it. We had one that closed, no appraisal, no inspection. My sellers were like, easy, and they get to rent it back. Kaylee's our PM, she's like, where's the inspection? I'm like, I didn't do it. Like, what? I'm like, I didn't do it. So my people are very happy about that.
Should they have,
Huh?
should they have done an inspection?
Maybe. I mean, that was, late 80s. It was, it was a pretty good condition. I always do an inspection. You never notice in that cross. It was on a crawl space, so absolutely. The appraisal issue, we're gonna ask about that, is you have to talk with your sellers from the beginning about appraisal issues. Like you said, when you're a buyer, right as high as the sky. When you're a seller, you see that you're listed at 100, you see an offer for 140, you're like, oh my gosh, this is $40,000 more than I thought I was gonna get. You need to bring their heads back out of that money cloud and have a serious conversation about what is it really worth? What is it gonna appraise for? What is it gonna eventually sell for? Because it's probably not gonna appraise for 140. And then that seller or that buyer is gonna get it for 110, which is where, it probably was, off of 100,000. And then that seller's upset, like, oh, we thought we were gonna get that $30,000 more. Or, oh, that other offer that I should have taken, let me have possession for a month later. There was something else besides money that was very appealing to your seller, but they got blinded by the bling signs and the $100,000 and 50. Yeah.
And then just setting the expectation with the seller when they go with the offer, the super high offer, that oftentimes in inspection is when the buyer's gonna come back and go, we paid $30,000 over for that. And so now we want you to change out the blinds or something ridiculous that,
Absolutely. So there's setting expectations. There's 2 points there. One is the inspection. Yeah, and kind of like I said earlier, buyers thinking, I want everything done. And the seller's like, well, what? But, I I've got all these other buyers. For those 4 buyers, so they got 5 offers, 4 of those people, they're probably bought something else. They're not there anymore, because you're now 3 weeks down the road. You're like my one buyer, you're still not looking, but, and then also, you're right, as far as the appraisal, you have to set up the expectation of what happens in the appraisal. All right, what can happen if the appraisal is low? You don't have to sell it, the buyer doesn't have to buy it, and you are renegotiating. You're figuring out somewhere. If you're a few $1,000s apart, the agents are gonna make it work. We're gonna find a meeting in the middle. We're gonna take $1,000 off the closing costs if they are something here, maybe not give them the home warranty. We're gonna find a way to make it work. Now, if you're 30, 40,000, 50,000 or more apart, you know, kind of SOL.
We got some work.
Yeah, might as well put it back on the market. And you can fight appraisals too. If you really think, if you and the buyer's agent are like, or you and the seller's agent, whatever side you're on, feel like this appraisal is just awful, fight it.
But if you've been on the market, isn't it true that FHA appraisals stay within certain, like 6 months or whatever?
Correct.
90 days, 90?
It's 90 days now. They shorten that window. If it's an FHA loan,
NVA.
NVA, yeah, and USDA, because they're all kind of, it's the government loan. Think about the government packages.
Anything with initials.
Those stick with the property for 90 days.
When did they change?
I think it was early last year. It was 6 months, and it went 4 months, and now I think it's 90 days. And ask your lender exactly, but I believe it's 90 days now.
And that's if the next buyer is an FHA. If the
Right.
next buyer's conventional, it's not.
It doesn't matter. So if the next buyer is getting, putting 20% down or 10% down, then it doesn't matter to them. Or obviously cash. But yeah, but if the next buyer is FHA or VA or USDA, then, they're kind of screwed. So that is a good conversation to also have with your clients. So we have,
You just say not accepting it.
absolutely, yep.
Okay.
And that's very common. And you'll see that like, oh, well, now you're not accepting VAs or FHAs. Well, it's because I had a low appraisal. So timing. All right. The timing with sellers can be tricky, and it's gotten a lot easier. So my mother is Joan Loneman, and I think she's the best real estate agent in the city. But I've thought that since I was 10. And I've seen her do some amazing things with timing. It's gotten a little bit harder because now earnest money there's a clause in there about when earnest money is being delivered. That is new in the past 2 years of earnest money to be, maybe a year, earnest money to be delivered by this certain time. We had one, this is years ago, about 10 years ago, where the agent never delivered earnest money. We sold it out from under him. Where's the earnest money? Where's the earnest money? We got another offer that was a little bit better, and we told someone else. To this day, I'm sure that agent badmouths us, but I don't care. So with timing, if you've got a really good offer, and you've got some other decent offers, you can counter one offer and still put out a multiple offer notification. That makes sense? All right. Offer 1, really good, but we want the closing to be 2 weeks later. So I counter you and say, all right, we want closing to be May 1st instead of April 20th. At the same time, I've got offers coming in. I go to these people and say, all right, we've got multiple offers, send us your highest and best by tomorrow at noon. In case one of these other offers, knowing that we're probably gonna work with this offer, because they're gonna accept that. But one of these offers might come in better. But I haven't accepted any of these. I haven't countered any of these. I just told them, send us your highest and best. Knowing we're probably gonna reject all of these. Make sense?
But you have to tell everybody the same thing.
Yeah.
I did. I told you all I have multiple offers.
What about the first one?
They didn't disclose the terms of it.
I didn't disclose the terms. I just said I have multiple offers. All I did was counter it. I can counter this offer. I told him I have multiple. He knows I have multiple offers. They know I have multiple offers. I mean, he by default knows that I've countered him. But yeah. So
But now the ball's in his court for him to accept, and meanwhile, you're gonna reject all these.
unless he takes forever to accept it, say he goes back to his buy, and the guy's like, well, we'll get back to you on Monday, and all of a sudden comes in exactly what I want. Before you accept that new one, you've got to resend this one immediately. You've got to have in writing that that offer is now void. You're sending your counter from offer 1 before you sign offer 12. Because the worst thing you can do, not the worst thing, but one of the top things you can do in this industry is sell your house or sell someone else's house twice. That's gonna be a lawsuit. So that's the,
DocuSign, getting the stamps on it.
yeah, the nice thing about DocuSign, no matter when they sign it, it's dated and signed. So there's a timing game. It's gone away a lot from years past where you could play each other against each other, but you never want to have 2 counters out there because, like I said, if you sell it twice, then you're screwed. But you can still say, hey, I want you to send your highest and best, because what if this guy walks away too, until the ink is dry? So does that make sense how you play that? Okay. It doesn't always happen because a lot of times, honestly, I think we get such good offers that you just end up accepting one. I mean, you might even say, well, we're accepting highest and best, but you really already know which one you're going with. You know which one you like before you even go through all of them.
In your last scenario with
Sure.
12 and the one where you readjust the closing date, in the rare case they don't accept that, then that allows you to go back to your other 12.
Absolutely. And if they reject it or they counter you back,
Sure.
then you can, keep playing it until you have a signed acceptance on one. You can really play them against each other. But you just cannot have 2 out at the same time.
So, help me think through this.
Sure.
If you told, we've got multiple offers, we're gonna be responding by noon on Saturday, and one of these comes in awesome on Friday night, can you accept that one and then tell the other people, or not tell, you don't have to wait, because what if there's another offer that comes in at 2, or, in that Saturday morning before the time?
You can. So you're saying that you put out a notification that you'll respond to all offers by noon, and you get one on Saturday,
Right.
and you get a great one at Friday at 4:00. Yes. So you didn't say, because you said we'll respond by noon. You could respond at noon on Friday. You're not saying that we'll respond at noon. You said by noon. So you
have to
responded.
You have to word it correctly, because it's not send your offer by this time, because if they send the offer at 10 on Saturday, they're still within that time frame, but we've already accepted another one.
But it's also not a legally binding time frame. That's just an arbitration time. You're just saying, hey, at this time, we've gotten so many offers, because it's already a multiple offer situation. So if you see that, get your offer in right away.
Right.
If you've got a buyer and you say, oh, well, I have till noon on Sunday to show it to you and get an offer in, you still want to get it in because you're not bound to wait until noon on that Sunday as a seller or a seller's agent. You can do whatever you want. You get that good offer on, that Friday evening, you can accept it, and then you just send out another notification. Sorry, we already accepted an offer. Again, you're going to have agents.
So there's
Who don't
nothing
like you,
unethical
but-
about that, it's just.
No. I don't think so. You've got such a good offer. Because that's part of that notification too, is, hey, don't make me send you out another multiple offer situation. Send me your best offer first. And yes, you might have gotten a better offer because you have to present every offer until the day of closing. So you get an offer on a property an hour before closing, legally in the state of Indiana, you have to present that offer to your seller. Doesn't really happen. That'd be weird, but in the state of Indiana, all offers have to be presented. So with the sellers, not really on timing, but presenting offers, we've got a few more minutes, about 15, so I'm going to fly through this. How I share multiple offers is I go through one offer, normally the one that I think they should go with. I go through that in detail of every section of a purchase agreement, like you would with the seller. And then what I do is I summarize the other ones, the key points of what makes it better, what makes it worse than the offer that I think they should go with. And then you always keep all of the offers somewhere. Some people put them in DocuSign, some people just keep them somewhere on their computer, but keep all of those offers with that file. We use Google Drive on our team. Keep them somewhere. You want all of this somewhere, and that way you can say, yeah, I've got it, I've presented it. It also makes it easy to go back to those people if the deal falls through, because that buyer might still be lingering out there. So you can do the offer that I talked about where I had 28, I said, 26 or 28. I did a spreadsheet. There's so many, I just went through a spreadsheet. I said, okay, here's this offer, we're rejecting it, here's this offer, they're kind of close friends of mine, so we have a lot of trust. And I said, here, these offers, one was a lawyer, so he read through all of them. I said, these 12, I can guarantee you, we're not doing anything with. We're gonna flat out reject them, they're under list price, at list price. But you still have to present them all. So make it easy, if you've got more than 3 or 4 or 5, make it easy for the seller to understand, because like I said at the beginning, they're going to be very overwhelmed. Go back to the basics. Go back to you can counter, accept, reject, highest and best. You're gonna be essentially teaching this class to them over dinner or over the phone. I find it if you've got more than 4 or 5, sit down at the table with them. Go back to, house, which is hard because we're busy, but we get paid quite well for doing this, and it's making them understand it. Sometimes if you've got a younger, savvier, they're quick, they might not want to do it. But I find sitting down face to face with them is the easiest way to do it if you can. Some of them, they're like, oh no, I get it. We'll do it on that. And like I said, keep a copy of all of them.
I have a question when, and we're seeing this all the time, when you get the multiple authors and like you had talked about appraisal and all that. I know that if I have a buyer that's going over, most of the time, it depends on the agent, but especially the Tucker agents will come back and say, what's gonna happen if it doesn't appraise? And they want that kind of cleared up before you present your highest and best. But I'm seeing at the same point, a lot of people just like going highest and best, and they're going, sure hope it appraises, because what's gonna happen? So how do you deal with that with the buyer's agents, and how do you deal with it with the sellers? Because I think that's kind of the real.
That's a good question, and that's a good point of a lot, that we are seeing that, is the sellers, when you're picking up that phone, saying, what happens if it doesn't appraise? Well, and the answer is different if I'm the buyer's agent or the seller's agent. If I'm the buyer's agent, I'm like, I don't know, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. I mean, I don't have to disclose anything. If I'm the selling agent, I really kind of put it back on my sellers. I said, we've gone over the comps. This is what we think it's worth. I give them real life examples. I've seen houses that have sold higher than I thought would, appraised higher than I thought it would. So there is a chance. Explain the appraised. I go back to the seller, honestly, because it's not on the buyer.
So we just had a transaction kind of like that. We were first in, had an escalation clause up to a certain point, and, of course, it's over list, and the listing agent came back and said, what are you gonna do if it doesn't appraise? Are you willing to cough up the cash? Of course, they're first-time buyers, they don't have the cash, and I mean, it was kind of well, if it doesn't appraise for the list price, and it's lower than that, that's a completely different conversation than if it doesn't appraise for what you went over.
Right.
And we did not get the offer because they were not gonna cough up, a lot more. I mean, because.
And it's never in writing.
We counseled them like, well, it could appraise for 5,000 or 6,000 under. If you say, yes, I'm willing to cough up this much cash, you can write it a variety of ways.
Right. Because it's normally not in writing. You can say it too.
Yeah.
And then you can have an agent who hates you because it appraises low and they decide not to do it. I mean, if it's not in writing anywhere, we'll talk about the clause next.
Let's put it on the other foot. If you're the buyer like that, though, and you go to your contract, you're listing, then we will cover up to $5,000 if it doesn't appraise.
Which I have done that before, and that's worked, but this was a little bit more.
You definitely got to put a cap on it.
Yeah.
Because, what if, what if it's 200, let's say 190, sells for 200 and appraises for 170. And
That's a whole different.
A $200,000 buyer doesn't have normally $30,000 extra cash. If they do, they're not hanging out with me.
And the appraiser's gonna see that purchase agreement with that stipulation.
So going back to Sarah's, where you send an email out and say, come back with your best and highest like you on Saturday. As the buyer agent, and I'm going back. What response time should I put on it? Like
to the set, what's telling?
So what I normally do is if they've given me a time that, what was that?
Sorry.
No, I mean, we've all been
Just say
there.
as short as possible, because you don't want to be
Yeah.
hanging out there, you know, it's like, they're making a decision.
But see, like I said at the very, not at the very beginning though, but it's up to the seller. I mean, you can't force it. If I say, all right, all offers will be in by noon, and you give me, a response time of 1, you're not hearing back by 1. So I don't really care. I mean, honestly, you can put whatever you want, it's up to the seller's agent. I normally put 24 hours because they're gonna get back with me when they get back to me.
Well, do something reasonable, otherwise you're out of contract and now
Right.
you've screwed yourself.
And I wanna make sure.
That's what,
that
going back to what she said, that's why I put, like I said, I put like 12 to 24 hours, which is what I normally put on most offers anyways.
Even in this market.
Yeah.
Well, they gotta have time to think about it.
I mean, I had a client or an agent call me at 5, call me at like 1 and said, if I got you an offer today, could we hear back by tonight? I said, maybe, what time are you gonna send it? He's like, well, probably 7 o'clock tonight.
What?
And I said, no, I was like, I've got family dinner and I'm going to a concert. I'm like, you'll hear back by tomorrow morning. I mean, the sellers are the driver's seats. We have all the sellers and seller's agent, we have all the power. So that's why I put 24 hours, is so that we are in contract if they respond whenever. Because if you say, oh, well, I want to hear back within 2 hours, I mean, I don't really care.
Wouldn't this be another instance where it'd be a good idea to call the list agent and just see what the situation with the seller is? Because if they're putting on there, it's on Thursday, and they're putting on there, we're gonna review them all and let everybody know something on Saturday at noon. But maybe one of the two's out of town and they're not around to be able to accept that offer. And if you put on there, I gotta know in 24 hours, well, they're not gonna be able to let you know.
Well, I think we're talking about once the notification of multiple offers. Your initial offer, 12 to 24 hours is what I would always put. I always just put 12 to 24 hours.
Except if those 12 are sleeping hours.
Right, yeah, don't send me an offer at 8 o'clock at night and want to
Right.
hear back at
8
7 in the
a.m.
morning. Yeah, I agree.
What was your answer again? Like, what is the best way?
I always put 12 to 24 hours.
Even when you came back with them.
And so, and we didn't hit on this earlier, sometimes the highest and best, you'll hear an agent might call and say, hey, you have our highest and best, let us know. That's fine with me, I don't mind dealing with that. I'm not gonna make my people write up a whole new offer.
Yeah.
Because they're doing exactly the same. I've had agents who, I'll say, all right, my buyer is gonna change the closing date to this, but everything else is the same. How do you want me to do that? Some agents like, write up a new offer. Those are the ones who probably have lawyers in their family. Or you have the ones who say, just do an amendment saying, changing this on the purchase agreement.
You can't do an amendment if it hasn't been,
Anything.
you can do an addendum, you can do an addendum.
Amendment.
You're adding,
Changing,
you're
adding.
adding.
Yeah.
Apples, oranges. All right, so we only got a few minutes left. Real quick, the form. So this is the multiple offer notification form that we were talking about. This is what my board wants you to send to everybody when you have multiple offers. Like we mentioned earlier, not very common. We're not doing it. There are ways to do it. What I don't like about this, and then this is the escalation clause. I think this form is very, very, very confusing. I think it's extremely poorly written. I'm still learning what's right and wrong. But what I like about this form that is not on this form is this makes you prove that there are other offers. I don't think we're in a market where people are lying and saying they have multiple offers when they don't. I think we were 5 years ago, maybe, when the market started to change. But this does have a clause in there that they have to prove to you. Now, with that said, we all have zip forms. We can write up a fake offer. It's not hard. I mean, there are over 8,000 real estate agents. We've gotten 3,000 new ones in the past 4 years. They're not all ethical. They don't all know what they're doing, to be honest. Sorry. But they do have to prove it. They're supposed to. All right, so real quick on the escalation, and I have one, I'll pass it around. And you'll see my notes, which will kind of help. So, does everybody know the basics of an escalation clause and how it kind of works?
How much over and your cap?
Yeah, so what your cap is how much you want to spend for the house and how much over the next offer you're to go. And that are these two lines. The one that you should probably, I always would check, is this third one. What that one is that it allows, so if you're putting 20% down, you're still putting 20% down. That's the easiest one. Actually, I'm gonna need this. So this is written by lawyers. I think it's only been around for 2 years. It's very confusing. So this first one, the loan amount goes up, so you end up bringing, or the loan amount stays the same, but you bring more money. The second one is you bring the same amount of money, but the loan amount might change. Now, this can be tricky if you're going from a conventional buyer, putting 20% down, and then all of a sudden, because the loan amount is staying the same, now they're under 20%. So they've gone from a conventional to maybe an insured conventional. This one, which is what I always check, which makes it easy to explain it to it. And I had a buyer who reads the contracts for a living, and he even was like, "This is really confusing." I'm like, "Yeah, welcome to upstate." That's the one where if you're putting 20% down, you're still putting 20% down, no matter if it's you get it for 190 or you get it for 200, you're still putting 20% down. So it pretty much stays the same. And then the last one is a fixed loan amount, an increase in the purchase price. So again, this is a very confusing form. I don't use them all that often, but at the same point, when I do use them, I use them from the beginning. I don't wait for that multiple offer. If I know there are multiple offers, send this right away. Yellow Birch opinion we had, we sent it right away, and they didn't end up using it. And I kept calling the agent, "Hey, what did it sell for?" And it's like, "Oh, it sold for what your offer was." I'm like, "Well, you didn't call me back and tell me that." So this is a clause or a form that we're seeing a lot of. You need to explain it to your sellers. This is where literally writing them out. And this is what on this, when we get them, and we don't get them, I don't get them very often. How many people use these? Okay. You're not writing offers on my list.
Yeah, you don't have any listings.
We got one. We're about to have some. I'll tell you where they're at later. Because I think that I would write the side, this is the max it could sell for, based off of the other offers. This is going to take you doing some due diligence and saying, okay, well, this escalation clause is here, this escalation clause is here. You have to figure that out for them. That's what we're paid for, is figure out what is the max on this one compared to that one. Double check your work. So if you have
But also on that phone call to that other agent, tell them you're sending one, because half of them don't know what that means.
Yeah.
I did that last year so many times, they're going, "What's this escalation clause?"
It's gotten better because, like, they're new. Like, what are they? They've been around 2 years.
Never saw it before, didn't know what it meant. That's my conversation when I call that agent.
Yeah, and I've even seen agents write it in further conditions of the purchase agreement. They don't even use this form, and they just write in, our max price will be 180, 500 over the next highest offer. Which I'm like, all right, well,
Is that, do you do that? I mean, that's
sure,
okay.
further
I
conditions.
mean, to me, it's cleaner in case the agent.
And it doesn't deal with any of this loan stuff either.
Well, and it makes, if that other agent isn't well experienced on it,
Yeah.
then
No one is. You're not teaching class in library. No, it's just very poorly written, I think my board, and I think it's even changed in the past year too, this form. I've noticed some differences on it. But we're gonna see more and more of them. I think a lot of the younger agents, newer agents, they're thrown into this wild market. So you guys, they're gonna be taught about it. I mean, first time I saw one of these was about 2 years ago, and I was like, you, I'm like, this thing. I had to go to my broker and be like, what's this escalation clause? I mean, it kind of makes sense, go up, but at the same time, you know, does it work?
Mhm.
Yeah, they do.
It just worked for me Friday.
Yeah.
5,000 over.
Questions on the escalation clause that I probably won't be able to answer.
So, that's why we came today, Will.
Well, one of the, I know with buyers, one of the things that confuses them is, well, then what? Well, the seller has to counter, like, you
Exactly.
created that for now the seller to react.
So that's what this acceptance of counteroffer is. And essentially what they do is they then counter, sorry, I'm glad you brought that up, is they then counter what the final purchase price is gonna be. So it's not like it's an acceptance, it's, all right, we have to counter, so what the final price is gonna be.
And they can go to your cap, even though the other one wasn't at that. I mean, ball is still in the seller's court. Like, let's say the house is 180, you're going to 185, you're willing to go 500 over. If the other highest offer is 183.
Well, and the other thing it doesn't tell you, or it does tell you though, is the cap is based off of the net.
Yeah.
It's not the price, it's the net. And technically, they can't go up to your max. They have to go to the $500 higher than the other offer, or 1,000, whatever you put in there, and it's the seller's net. So if another offer has closing costs, or you have closing costs, it is the net. It is not the purchase price.
Right in that.
It clearly says in the escalation clause, it is the net of the offer, not the purchase price.
And is the other offers for being shown to us so we can see that?
Once it's accepted, yeah. This one has to prove it. That's what I was saying earlier, though, you know, we don't write up a big offer.
If you were the listing agent, can you counter by declining the escalation clause, but also counter back with your top price? Say, we'll go with your top price, but we're not doing the escalation clause.
And you're the seller, you can do whatever you want.
Lucas, I don't want to come in. That's what I would do.
Across here. Yeah, I mean, you could. I don't see why you couldn't. Just say, 'cause you can counter anything. I mean, this is, you know, and what you got to put in the purchase agreement though is escalation clause attaching part of the purchase agreement. I want to do that as well. Make sure that way it's double I, so that way the selling agent or listing agent knows, all right, there's an escalation clause. I'm an agent who doesn't know how to open zip forms and get documents, and it's frustrating. But, I know we're over our time. I'm happy to keep chatting. If you got to go, I understand. Go. Any questions, concerns, horror stories?
I would just reiterate too, just
the sellers say, I don't want to deal with this, I've heard about it, I've heard nightmares, my best friend had it, can you put in a listing number?
No escalation clause?
No escalation?
Sure. I
But
don't see
how
why
can you
not.
tell?
Put it in further conditions, or put it agent mark. Yeah, say
Right, I
seller.
know for the conditions would be where it would be in the listing.
Right, and just put in there. I mean, I don't.
Say.
Seller will not.
Seller has, you know, no, I don't know.
Yeah, say seller will not review any escalation clause, only solid offers or something. I mean,
Yeah.
work with your broker, or
Right.
whichever way
Present
go
it.
to do it. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't.
you have to present it, but
Right, but I don't see the benefit of not doing that, but I'm sure there's horror stories for every
you
situation.
got young kids that talk to each other, going, well, I just got screwed with this deal because of this and this, and you don't do it when you're selling your house.
Yeah. I mean, you don't have to review it.
And train.
I was just gonna say, the point you made of just playing nicely, because we're all in this rush. We've all been, you know, don't even get the chance for highest and best. I mean, it's still stressful on both sides. Like, yes, it's better to be a seller right now than a buyer, that, you know, we jump up and go see that house, first day on the market, and you don't even get the chance for highest and best. And it's deflating. But the worst thing is when as agents, we're not nice to each other. Like, well, I got 9, you know, you don't even know if they got your offer, and you're texting and you're calling and like, did they even get it? And he's like, well, I got 9 offers. I'm doing a spreadsheet, and just still be nice. It's hard. And
We're all in
Bad
this
agent,
together.
Only nice agents.
Only
apply.
There's an agent, Dane Collins, he's a friend of mine, he's out of the Keystone office. He used, I don't know if he still does, he would put in his agent remarks, like, I will give you feedback on your listing if you give me feedback on mine. And I thought, like, that's pretty clever, because I was a listing secretary for many years on Jones' team, not a lot of years. And my job was to get feedback from agents before CSS. And it's just shocking, you know, it's, part of our time is get feedback, and people who don't get feedback. So I know that has nothing to do with multiple offers, but get feedback. But yeah, be nice. I mean, we're all in this together. We're all, you know, we're all in the same industry. Yeah, we're gonna work with that agent more than we're probably gonna work with that one buyer or seller.
What type of feedback would you like? I mean, I never say, did you think it was overpriced? I would never, I don't. put it in.
I say that. Like, well, and also, so it depends on who, and this, so I know a lot of agents, like I said, I've been doing it for 13 years. So I have a really good friend who, she flips houses, and my feedback to her is brutally honest, because that's what she wants. And I know that she's the seller and she's the agent. So like, for instance, she's got a listing now and there's no shower upstairs, and I said, I'm like, whose dumb idea was it not to put a shower upstairs? And that's our relationship, you know, because, you know, right now we're texting about the fact that she doesn't like Tom Petty, which is stupid. Stupid. But normally I just talk about, you know, this is what they didn't like about it. You know, it's kind of like, you know, 2 compliments and a criticism. You know, say something nice about it, unless it's a, you know, dog